Hello there everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name's Rebecca and I'm here in the lovely Blue Mountains in New South Wales, Australia. It is just west of Sydney in a World Heritage Centre. I love to create garments that bring me joy. Mostly they're super duper comfortable and sometimes they're super duper loud and bright. If you're tuning in today, I'm guessing it's because you also love creating. I have had a bit of a strange day, one of those days where you have these great intentions and then kind of everything turns a bit skew, if not how you wish it would. I have had this fabric cut out for a few weeks now to make into a lovely pair of wide leg trousers. A new pattern I hadn't made before, so I was actually looking forward to trying it to see how it fitted on my body. And I did about an hour and a half of sewing, and then the unpicker has been my friend, and I've now done an hour and a half of unpicking. Very frustrating. While I was unpicking, I watched some other creators and the marvelous things that they've been making for Me Made May. Part of that watching sometimes includes seeing other people's fabric hauls, and sometimes I find that inspiring, and to be honest, sometimes I find it really discouraging because personally I don't have a big budget to spend on fabric. If I indulge in a new piece of fabric, that's really special for me. Some places you can get some great fabric is at the op shop. Sometimes there's lovely large pieces of fabric, but not often. But sometimes you can source it from old sheets, old vintage sheets, if they have the right texture and color and pattern for you. Sometimes old blankets, sometimes towels, and people do wonderful things with tea towels and tablecloths as well. You could also buy some large men's shirts from an op shop and use the fabric there. If you're looking into buying sheets and you can't source them from Marketplace or an op shop, the other best budget place I found is actually IKEA. Of course, that is new fabric. IKEA also sell pre-cut fabric that you can get, as well as, you know, all those wonderful types of sheets and doona covers that you can cut up and use for your creating as well. One other thing that you have at hand is the clothes that you already have. So part of the blog today is also about how to get inspiration from those clothes you already have to perhaps restyle them for your body shape and for your current style. So I'm going to show you some pretty awesome inspiration from really creative people today. The first creator I'm going to talk about today has a shop and an Instagram account, and they're called Polka. So the inspiration for these is using tablecloths to create beautiful garments, and also perhaps taking something you already have and giving it fresh life through some beautiful embroidery. The next creator is called Luz or Luz. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it. And she has a fabulous YouTube channel called Luz Upcycles. And she upcycles a lot. In fact, I'm pretty sure that's her business, upcycling clothes and then selling them on. She has great inspiration. She'll share both her inspiration, where she gets her inspiration from, and her makes, and does some videos of her whole planning process and her sewing process, what she does along the way to get the garments to fit her body. So a really great variety of videos there. For example, she's done a video on how to use scarves to create garments, how to turn scraps into a dress, and how to use men's shirts to create lovely garments that you want to wear. So that's Luz Upcycles. I will put all the links below, so it's really easy for you to click and access if you're interested in any of these creators. My third creator is a woman who puts together a YouTube channel called Blueprint DIY. She also remakes old clothes, and she's got a lot of videos. There's a lot of inspo there. So things like how to remake old clothes, how to alter them to fit you, or how to restyle them so you like them better. For example, she's done lots of videos on jeans, how to fit the waist better by bringing it in, or if it's too small at the waist, how to enlarge it so it fits you better, how to make your jeans wide leg, how to take a pair of jeans you already have and make it into a barrel leg jean, how to take a couple of pairs of t-shirts and make them into a beautiful new garment that you will love to sew. My next creator is a really lovely young woman who has a YouTube channel and a small business, and they're both called Hippie Crow Hub. Her name's Vita, and her little logo says where creativity meets sustainability. And she has really great inspo on how to recreate or reinvent pieces of clothes. And I'll pop some pictures of all these creators in so you can see examples of what they do and see if it suits your style and if you'd like to follow up. Okay, the next inspo is called Nico Vintage Clothes, and this is actually a website or a shop where they use vintage textiles to create stylish modern garments. I really love the combination of fabrics they use here to put together to create something fresh and new. The next creator also has their own website or shop, and that's called m.o.s.s.o.n. They also have an Instagram account if you want to follow their latest makes, and they produce handcrafted unique clothing pieces, and they're based in Lithuania. There's lots of patchworked garments, so using smaller pieces of fabric to create quite unique garments, jackets, vests, dresses. They also use applique. Sometimes they create patterns, sometimes they create actual scenes and pictures. It's really quite beautiful. My next bit of inspiration comes from an Etsy shop called Dalwi Shop. They sell recycled patchwork dresses. That's not quite right. They sell dresses and vests and things like that they've created from recycled fabrics, and they are based in Poland. I have another creator who also sells clothing, and they actually sell clothing for men. They're called Pickle. They have upcycled and embroidered clothes for men. I think mostly they use vintage tea towels and tablecloths, and I've put some images in, and some of them I recognize from when I grew up because they're vintage Australian tea towels, but this is not an Australian website, so I just love that they've gone across the world. Fantastic. Okay, and the last ones that I've got to show you are some of my favorites. Like, I just look at them and go, wow, that's amazing. Very high end, very skillful creators and sewers here. Okay, the next one is called The Birch Vintage, and I'll link their Instagram account, but she also sells her creations. She describes herself as a vintage seamstress with a heart for a better future. She makes garments from historical textiles, and they're just beautiful. I love looking at these, always make me smile because they're so creative. What she does just with an old doona or an old tea towel, I think, wow, great idea. My next creator is called St. Clair Scissors. She also has an Instagram account where you can see her latest makes and, of course, scroll back to see the history of her makes. She also has a shop. So her handle says she sells and makes small collections of handmade pieces from vintage and antique textiles. And these are just, wow, very beautiful, very lovely. She often uses, I think, vintage American quilts, and just the combination of colors and patterns is very pleasing to the eye. My last creator is also one of my favorites, and I follow this person on Instagram, and I'm hopefully going to say the name correctly, Anemone, and it's created by Ashley in Vermont. She also has an Instagram account and a shop where she sells her upcycled garments. So she's transforming, upcycling, and reworking forgotten textiles into wearable art. And that is a fabulous description for some of these creators. They really have taken fabric and made them into beautiful artworks that people can sew. Okay, if you're feeling super inspired and you've got your vintage fabric or your whatever, you've got your old sheet and you want to put something together with very little waste or no waste, here are a few people that you may have heard of before, but let me remind you. There's a lovely woman called Liz Haywood who mostly just publishes her stuff on Instagram. She has published some patterns and how-to books on no-waste sewing. She's a really size-inclusive pattern maker, and she also has an Etsy shop, and I'll put in some of the pictures and the links as well, such as this Smith pinafore dress and this tie waist top. Another no-waste pattern creator you would have heard of before is Birgitta Helmerson, and a couple of examples are her crop shirt and this gathered dress. If you're super duper keen on Birgitta Helmerson as well, she has also got a whole book of no-waste patterns, which it might be better to buy the whole book rather than individual patterns. Okay, well, I'm folding up my trouser leg that was ready. Keep it nice and neat, and ready to get into that again tomorrow. And I hope that you find some inspiration from these other creators today. I certainly do. I love looking at what they put together and thinking, ooh, could I? What pattern do I already have that I could use? Do I already have an old doona I could use for that? I'm not sure. But it's lovely to dream and to use what you have. It feels very righteous when you don't even have to go out and buy fabric or patterns to make yourself something beautiful. Give me a thumbs up if you like my content, and please feel free to add to the discussion if you have some other wonderful creators who are great at already using what they have, so not breaking the budget for patterns or fabric and things like that, or if you know a great place where to source fabric that is both beautiful and lovely to wear and economical, yeah, please add it to the conversation in the comments. We'd all love to know. I hope that you are enjoying creating and also enjoying wearing your creations. It's been really lovely to have you here. Bye for now.